Welcome to Live Breathe Film, episode 121. You're here with Doug and Murph. Thank you for joining us. Today we'll be recapping the 2025 winter-spring box office season that was thankfully saved by Warner Brothers their one-two punch of a Minecraft movie and Sinners, while also officially crowning the winner of our winter-spring box office pool. And then, as always, a friendly reminder before we begin, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to Live Breathe Film wherever you choose to listen to your favorite podcasts. We appreciate all your support. Okay, Doug. Diving into the winter spring box office recap, we'll just remind everyone that we both had 10 picks during this. The draft order was myself and then you. It was a snake draft, so it went me, you, and then you again, then back to me, and so on and so forth. We're going to go over the actual top 20 of the season. So it does include a bunch of movies that neither of us picked. Those are the ones we will ultimately start with because we do want everyone to know I think it was the 6 movies that we picked that ultimately didn't make the top 20, which is kind of sad considering the season was so miserable to begin with in what actually made money. So the fact that 6 of our movies didn't even make the bare minimum of $21 million that our number 20 pick that the number 20 movie made. It's pretty sad. But there were some surprises as well, some movies that weren't announced prior to us doing the draft or didn't have release dates. So there's a little bit of leeway. I think maybe one other movie would have made it if that wasn't the case. But all these box office numbers are going to be through Thursday, 5/1. So that's like the last official day before the summer movie season began, and we already had the winner clearly determined by that point for the season. So there was no reason why we shouldn't just give the top 20 now. So it's based on where the movies are ranking currently. We'll give you an idea about where they'll end up because there definitely is going to be fluctuation for a few of these movies on the list as we continue to move by. But Doug, you want to start with the 6 movies that we selected that didn't make the top 20 for the season, starting with the lowest grossing one?
Yeah, and it looks like I picked the majority of these, so probably not a great sign for me, huh? Um, yeah, so Presence was the lowest performer out of the picked but or selected but not ranked. Only made $7 million, and I picked it at number 19.
I mean, it was your last
So
pick.
was my last pick. I don't know. I thought the movie looked cool. Apparently, it was cool.
Yeah, it got good
But
reviews.
no one went to see it. So
Yeah. Spoiler alert,
still,
neither of us picked the Soderbergh movie that actually did make the top 20.
yeah, no, it looked like a really cool concept, but and maybe I'll see it at some point. But I mean, I didn't even see it, so
Yeah, I didn't see it either. So we didn't help.
not a great sign.
Yeah.
The next one was Love Hurts, which I also picked at number 15, and that only made $16 million. That was the Ki Hu Kwan movie. Um, there was somebody else in it too, right? The
And Ariana DeBose.
Ariana DeBose. I thought it looked fun. Also, didn't see this movie. Did you see it, Murph?
I did not see it. This one was one that the marketing could not sell me on in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Um, but you picked it, what, number 15? So it was a later pick. There was the 2 Valentine's Day movie. We'll get to the other one later. Valentine's Day themed genre
Yep.
movie that I ultimately ended up going with. But we'll get to that one later.
Um, the next one was Drop. Murph, you picked this one with the last pick of the draft, pick number 20, and it made $16 million.
Yeah. So, I mean,
My
ultimately, our last picks only had a $7 million difference. I mean, Drop might make another million, 2 million at most. Probably not even that. But it probably will make a little. It's going to make a little bit more money based on where it was at last weekend. but it won't move up in even the selected not ranked rankings.
Yeah, these numbers are. I mean, we'll get to the main draft on what the numbers look like there too, but these numbers are kind of pathetic for like. I mean, these movies.
They're really bad.
Yeah, I mean, the next one was Novocaine, made $20 million. I picked it at number 18. Movie starring Jack Quaid. Doesn't feel pain. Kind of. This is the first one that I think starts to surprise me, and I thought the movie would do better than this.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little worried about that this one was going to break out, and it did not remotely break out.
No, no one went to go see this one. I thought it looked fun. I don't know if the reviews were just really bad or Jack Quaid just doesn't sell people as any sort of.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get back to Jack Quaid in a very short bit. But both Novocaine and Drop were fun. So, I mean, it's disappointing that combined they only made $36 million.
Yeah.
But Novocaine definitely looked like it had some potential. I mean, they advertised it during the Super Bowl or before, like during the pre-show for the Super Bowl. So, like the marketing was there. Just didn't connect.
Yeah. All right, and now we're gonna get into.
This is where shit
Probably
gets surprising
Yeah, this gets really surprising to me. And
because we go to high picks.
Yeah, this is a high pick, I guess, for me, which is I picked Wolfman with my number 6 pick, so that's a pretty high up for especially for not being selected. And this movie only made $21 million, which huge difference between that and like the Invisible Man remake.
Yeah, it was the same creative team.
Same creative team, same studio. Invisible Man, I think, came out during the pandemic, right?
Shortly before it came out in February of 2020. So it had a few weeks of strong box office before lockdown began.
So it kind of got the legs cut out of it a little bit on what could have potentially.
Yeah, it would have made more. Yeah, definitely would have continued making more money.
So I thought, like the studio, I thought, this movie should make money. Just based, I know you, Murph, you were a little bit more, you were less optimistic about this movie than I was.
Yeah, and I didn't enjoy it at all. I did see this one, but it just wasn't a good movie. And I love The Invisible Man. That made $70 million, despite its legs getting cut off by the pandemic. I mean, it made more on its opening weekend than Wolfman did total. It made $28 million opening weekend. The quality just wasn't there with Wolfman.
Yeah, and I guess that was it. I thought the trailers looked fine. But yeah, I don't know. I guess this one just didn't hit with audiences like I had hoped it did. But you would still think it would have done better than 21 million. It was
100%. Yeah.
Even if it's not good, I was thinking like at least double that. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yep.
And then the last one on the selected not ranked, also really surprising to me. Especially I just watched this movie last night. Was Companion. Only made $21 million, and Murphy picked it with a number 9 pick, which I thought was a good pick at the time.
Yeah, it was like, this is great. This one looks like it's going to be a hit. Another Jack Quaid movie.
Yep.
Our second movie in a row that was picked in the top 10 picks that didn't end up making it into the top 20. So really kind of sad. But very good movie. And I thought the trailers were very intriguing and left a bunch of mystery at first, but it looked like it was going to be pretty cool, and it was. But apparently people, I guess maybe they didn't show enough, and the premise wasn't clearly there until too late in the marketing, or maybe the premise. Maybe it was too off-putting to begin with, and people don't want to watch well, I won't spoil the movie, the twist.
I was actually thinking, like, watching this movie, I was, like, clearly the movie was designed for, like, you to not know the twist coming into it.
Yeah.
Because, like, they don't reveal it until, like, you're a decent chunk into the movie. But the second trailer, I think, like makes it very obvious, and now like the posters are using
Yes, the
to
posters make it
advertise.
clear with what it is.
So I was kind of like annoyed actually on the way the marketing was handled for this movie because I don't think they um, should have let the twist out of the bag. Um, Same with
If they didn't let the twist out of the bag, I don't know if I don't know how I don't know what it would have done either way, box office wise.
I don't know if
Yeah,
it would have changed the box office, but I think it would have made the movie better for me.
yeah. I mean, it would have been cooler not knowing anything. But yeah, the movie kind of played out similar to that movie Fresh with Sebastian Stan and Daisy Edgar Jones, where it kind of takes a bit before like it just feels like it's like in that rom com type movie before being like, all right, now this is what the movie is. We're like it's a horror movie. Um,
Yeah,
but
which I like that.
yeah, I like that too. But that idea concept works, I think, better on as a streaming movie where you can just grab somebody, then get them into a movie theater with an unknown premise. But I don't
But
know.
like
Either way, it didn't work.
the other Sophie Thatcher movie, Heretic, made a ton of money, and I thought kind of had a similar vibe, or not maybe not a ton of money, but made a lot more money than this, didn't
And I
it?
made a lot more money than this. I made like double.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that one was a little bit more clear with its subject matter um, than this one, which really the teaser trailer, which was awesome. It just didn't give you any idea about what the movie was about.
I think I personally think these movies would have done better if they came out now, where people are going
Yeah,
out to the
when
theater.
there's actual momentum, because yes, January through March is embarrassing. Um,
Yeah, I mean, this is just sad when I look at the list of how our movies did overall. It's just like it's just yeah, it's just a bloodbath of like no one going to see any of these movies.
yeah. Well, I guess we'll go into the top 20 now. You want me to do the evens? You do odds.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So number 20, we have the other Steven Soderbergh directed film of the season in Black Bag. It made 21 million. So basically the same amount of money as Companion and Wolfman, just a tiny bit more. Neither of us picked this one. It's actually my second favorite movie of the season. I do wish it made more money just based on quality alone. And I mean, it tells us a lot that neither of us was willing to pick it because it was like an original adult spy movie, which both of us thought was too risky to even pick 20 picks in a season that we thought was fairly barren with picks. But yeah, I mean, this was a really, really good movie and should have made more money. But there is a limit to what these adult dramas can make. And this 21 million was what Black Bag was able to make.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one. I didn't realize it was so high up on your list, so I'll have to maybe check it out because
I think it might already be on Peacock.
that would make sense based on how it performed.
Yeah, I
Um,
know it's on like PVOD in like I don't know 17 days or something like that.
yeah, I mean that doesn't seem like there was a lot of juice to squeeze out of this one.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a fun, really quick, fun spy movie, like 90 minutes. Um, Great ensemble led by Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett, and yeah, it's just a nice R-rated adult spy movie.
cool. All right, well that takes us to number 19, which was The Woman in the Yard, which made $22 million and wasn't picked by either one of us.
The Blumhouse movie I should
Uh,
have picked instead of Drop.
yeah, I mean,
It
I don't
made,
know. I'm
it
not.
only made 6 million more. It was not a good season for
Yeah,
Blumhouse, and only made $1 million more than Wolfman, Blumhouse's other movie. Blumhouse had a very bad season.
Yeah, but it takes $1 to make these movies, so
Yeah,
wasn't probably too bad.
that is a good point.
I didn't see Woman in the Yard. I don't know. This one didn't look interesting to me. I'm not
Yeah, I
that
skipped this
upset
one.
about it not getting picked because it didn't really make that much more than some of our other movies. But yeah, I mean, obviously, on the not selected, I mean, I'm surprised that this did better than Wolfman. I'm shocked this did better than Wolfman.
Yes, it is shocking. um, but it somehow did. God, it's just so depressing. But all right, let's talk about a good movie again. Going to circle back to quality things, but they ultimately should have made more money. Warfare, 23 million and counting. This is our number. This was number 18. This was not picked from either of us since it did not have a release date until after we did our draft. This was the follow-up film from Alex Garland, director of Civil War. He co-directed this with Ray Mendoza, who is an Iraq War veteran, who's actually a character in the film. Like I said, it's 23 million and counting. It's not going to move up to number 17, but it is making more money and should make another, I don't know, potentially another like $5 million. But yeah, this was, I would say, would be in my top 3 of the season. Was really something to see in like an IMAX. Really, the sound design was absolutely killer, similar to Civil War. But yeah, I mean, it's a gritty Iraq War movie. Really just takes place in one location for the most part and based kind of in real time. But it is, not necessarily the easiest watch, but it's quick paced and thrilling, despite having some brutal elements to it. I'd say war movie I'd probably compare it the most to would be like Black Hawk Down, where it's kind of like people pinned to a certain area and dealing with them trying to get out.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one, but I actually forgot what this movie even was until I remembered you talking about it. I just don't really remember seeing this movie advertised, really.
Yeah, it's A24, so didn't get like the crazy like marketing budget or anything like that. I mean, like we said, it didn't have a release date when we did our draft in January. It came out in the beginning of April, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's had some legs, which has been nice to see. It just opened very low.
Okay.
Wasn't like Civil War, which was like A24's top opener of all time.
That takes us to the next one on the list, number 17, which was Flight Risk, which made $30 million. I picked it at number 10. So
The movie that I drafted last fall, that didn't come out last fall.
And yeah, I think you. I remember you being pretty high on this movie last fall.
It was a late pick for me. I think it was my last pick of the draft in the fall. But in the fall, there were a lot of quality movies to choose from. It was slim pickings this season.
Yeah, this was definitely slim pickings. There's only a couple of movies on here that I felt good about. I think you and I had speculated maybe this movie got moved because of the Mel Gibson of it all.
Yeah.
And I think you might have had texted me or said something to me where you were like, well, it turns out it wasn't Mel Gibson. It's just this movie really sucks. And that's why it got moved.
It just wasn't good. And
yeah.
January was a more fitting release date than the competition in October.
Yeah, so I still haven't seen Flight Risk. The trailer was, I thought, well put together. Obviously, the movie not as well put together.
Tonally, it's odd.
Okay. I was hoping it would perform better, but I mean, I'm not. This isn't like shocking to me that it didn't. That it only made 30 million.
Yeah, another one that I was like, you snagged the movie that I'd gotten last time and was hoping to get at some point again in the draft. Um, but yeah, didn't ultimately end up performing that great. So,
Yeah.
all right. At number 16, we have Hard Eyes. Still a ridiculous title, ridiculous movie. But the other genre movie targeted for Valentine's Day, Love Hurts being the other one. And this made 30 million, so nearly double what Love Hurts made. I picked it at number 17. So the following, you picked Love Hurts at 15, so I picked it shortly after. It was one that I regretted basically right after I picked it, but it ended up doing pretty solid. It's had the best drop for a horror movie, for an R-rated horror movie ever, because its second weekend was Valentine's Day weekend, so it actually increased its box office on its second weekend. Unlike one movie that had the second highest that we'll talk about later, or second lowest for an R-rated horror movie that we'll talk about later, and Get Out, which was third, which dropped like 15% its second weekend. But Hard Eyes and Get Out were both low-budget movies, and Get Out didn't have a holiday weekend that it was dealing with, to my memory, on its second weekend, where it would have led to such a small decrease. That was just based on the film's quality. Hard Eyes was just clearly a novelty for the holidays. Fun. Yeah. It was a fun slasher movie, though. I'll give it that.
They kind of, in my opinion, like manipulated the lowest drop piece by making sure to release it the weekend before.
Well, any studio that puts out these movies on the holiday weekend themselves are incredibly stupid, because once the holiday passes, the movie falls real far.
Yeah.
Because I think it was like its third weekend in theaters, it dropped like 60-something%. I'm pulling it up right now. So it increased 19% its second weekend, and then on its third weekend, it dropped 72.7%. So like it was a movie that was made for that weekend. Like it only opened to 6 million, or it opened to 8 million and then increased to 9.8 million weekend 2, and then down to 2.7 weekend 3. So, and its second weekend was also President's Day weekend 2, which helped as well. I'm actually going to see if Get Out had a holiday on its second weekend. I want to say it didn't, but it very well could have had. It was a February release. Nope, no holiday. That was just Strength, where it dropped 15.4% on its second weekend.
So number 15 was The Accountant 2, and that made $32 million and counting, because it only came out like 2 weeks ago. And Murph, you picked this at number 8.
Yeah.
Kind of surprising that it's. I mean, I know it's still making money, and it obviously, I think it should probably get.
We're recording the list. We are recording this on Sunday, so we already know it's moved up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots in the rankings after its second weekend. We're not going to update it now. It could potentially go up to, I would say, best case scenario, it'd be the 6th biggest movie of the season. I think I was hoping it would end up making more overall. I mean, its opening weekend it had tons of competition in every demographic between Sinners, the Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith re-release, which was a 1-week thing. Minecraft was still making money, and then on its second weekend, Thunderbolts opened. So they probably could have released it at a better time than they did.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought this movie, based on how The Accountant 1 performed, would do better. Yeah, I just think like it just got kind of lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
There's still
But
plenty of RV popcorn buckets. I noticed at my local AMC. So
yeah, now there's limo buckets too for Thunderbolts.
yeah, yeah, they
'Cause
really got into like the cars for some reason
yeah,
now,
they're going all in on them.
which are like not any attempt to try to like keep them the shape of an actual useful popcorn vessel is like out the window.
Yeah.
Because I don't
But
know how like a car shaped like this, that's like short, is gonna hold popcorn. But
for sure. But yeah, like you said, I picked an 8. It's definitely going to at least be the 8th biggest movie of the season. So in that regard, I'm happy. But I would have liked to see it make more because I know they've talked about making an Accountant 3. Um, apparently, they always intended on it being a trilogy. Um, but my awareness of this franchise was so not there until this year that I had no idea about that. But yeah, the movie was an enjoyable flick. There's another movie that was, I would say, was somewhat in the same look, targeted to the same audience that I saw that I thought was pretty bad. That we'll get to later. That currently is making more money, but okay. Let's move up to number 14. So this one is an interesting one in the fact that it was just a 1 week release, and it's number 14. So that was Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. It made $34 million. This was not picked as it was not announced until after the draft. They couldn't release it over the May 4th weekend because Disney had Thunderbolts this weekend, so they released it the weekend prior, unlike last year where they had Phantom Menace out for its 20th anniversary or 25th anniversary out over the holiday. But I mean, Disney A knew this was going to be a 1 weekend wonder, and B knew that it, or 1 week wonder, and B knew that they wanted all their money to go to Thunderbolts after that 1 week. So they took it out of theaters very quickly and let Thunderbolts take up all the money for its opening weekend to kick off the summer season. But 34 million, man, for a re-release, and it would have made more money based on what it was doing throughout the week. It was pulling in like $3-4 million during the weekdays. This definitely had more money in the tank for it for the 20th anniversary. It was actually pretty impressive. I mean, and what are the odds? Would Corey have drafted this? I think if he was aware of that it was coming out, I have to think he would have. I mean, he drafted Phantom Menace last summer and did do decent for him. It may have made the top 25 or just I missed out on it. I can't quite recall. Didn't we would have done that episode this year, right? Because we were so late recapping last summer.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So let me see real quick if Corey did draft it. Or well, I know he drafted it. Let's see if it made the top 20. Where the fuck is this movie? Episode 112. He was selected, not ranked. He picked it with his 22nd pick of the 24 picks in the draft. So he picked as his last round pick. Phantom Menace, for comparison, made 13 million, and that was in theaters for I think like 2 weeks. While Revenge of the Sith made 34 million. But Revenge of the Sith is definitely a much better movie than Phantom Menace. So I'm not surprised to see it make more.
Yeah, and you've got like Clone Wars, and the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which probably increase interest in this movie. Just like the more recent, later coming Star Wars stuff, I think.
Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more media that's closer in time to Revenge of the Sith than there is to Phantom Menace.
I think it's become more relevant than it has been in a while.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that takes us to number 13, The Amateur. It's made 35 million and counting. Murphy picked this with the number 12 pick, so it probably be around there.
Yeah, I think it's going to end up around. It'll probably top the number 11 movie. Be right in between 10 and 11,
Yeah, I
based
mean
on the money it's making at the
there's
moment.
everything's so close together because of
I
the
know, because they're just so pathetic numbers.
yeah.
They're all so
It's
low.
yeah, it's crazy that things are like within a million of each other or two, so it's kind of crazy how close everything is.
Yeah. I definitely had higher expectations for this one, both box office wise and as a movie, but I can see why it only made 35 million when I did see the movie because it's not that great of a spy flick. Go see Black Bag, watch Black Bag instead, or The Accountant 2 instead. Um, both of those way more satisfying.
Yeah, I haven't seen this, so I'll take your word for it.
Okay. All right, then we'll go to number 12, which continues the theme of manly men doing manly action things. Although Rami Malek wasn't, he was specifically not a manly man in The Amateur. Um, but this is more like, I guess, The Accountant 2 and some of the other movies that we'll be talking about. But it's at number 12, Den of Thieves. Pantera made 36 million. Doug, you picked it at 14, so this was a solid get. Um, it should end up, well, exactly at 14 once The Amateur and The Accountant 2 pass it. Similar to The Accountant 2, a long delayed sequel to a like movie that only made so much money pre-pandemic, but it actually did solid for a sequel. I think it made like, did it make more than the first one or just under?
Um,
It
it
made
made a
first one
lot
made four.
less.
The first one made 45 million domestically. So yeah, made $9 million less.
Oh, you're right.
And
I'm looking at the worldwide.
um, the Accountant 2 is going to end up making far less than the Mirror, maybe like 20 million less than the Accountant 1. That made 86. But yeah, neither of us saw this movie, so I don't think there's anything else to talk about. But I'm assuming you're happy with how this one panned out for you.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's panning out right around where I picked it, so I can't be too upset about that. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, like,
obviously would have been nice to make more than 36 million, but
yeah, it's just a sucky box office. All right, well, that takes us to number 11, which was A Working Man. Made $37 million. Murph, you picked it with the 16 pick, so obviously a good pick for you. I didn't realize that
this
this was what that movie was. I thought it was some like Japanese foreign film documentary. So definitely a botch on my part for watching the wrong trailer and not making sure I was knew what this was. But I'm happy. I was a little worried when you picked this that this was actually gonna like do way better.
yeah, I think we were both like, oh, this could this do Beekeeper numbers?
Yeah, because Beekeeper. This feels like Beekeeper 2.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of the same creative team involved, same director, same actor, um, but didn't have.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand like what the difference is between this, other than maybe like social media wise, people get like more fixated on something, and then
Beekeeper looked fucking hilarious. Like, I think people went going to see that because it looked so damn goofy.
but a
Um,
working man looked kind of goofy
a
too.
working man looked goofy, but like it took itself more seriously, like than the Beekeeper. And I think it's because Sylvester Stallone wrote the script versus whoever wrote the script for the Beekeeper. Like the Beekeeper just looked so over the top, absurd. Not gonna
Yeah, I
say
guess.
a working man didn't look absurd and over the top. It didn't have that, I don't know, that element like I'm the beekeeper versus I'm a working man.
Yeah,
Um, like I gotta protect the hive. Like so many just absurd things about the beekeeper that
sure.
I could see why that one became more of a joke online and would make more money. And again, didn't help that this season everything sucked.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
that's kind of the until you get out of maybe the sixth pick, like everything's like right next to each other.
it's
Um,
so bad.
so yeah, I mean this is kind of ridiculous. Like it didn't really. I feel like nothing mattered really for the most part because they all were like within a million of each other,
Exactly. Um,
which is
yeah,
weird. It's never usually like this where it just feels like
everything is just lumped in the same literal
yeah,
category, like
if it
tier
was
of box office.
yeah, it's all like trash tier.
Yeah, but let's keep going through. Let's keep running through that trash, siphoning through it. At number 10, we have The Monkey. It made $40 million. I picked this with the number 13 pick. So this was a solid pickup for me. Um, it was Osgood Perkins' follow up to Long Legs. Neon did a solid marketing job again. Didn't make the money that Long Legs did. I mean, what Long Legs make? Like double the amount, right?
I think so. Yeah.
But this was a, like kind of a horror. Yeah, Long Legs made 74 million. This was like a horror comedy versus Long Legs, which was more like a Silence of the Lambs type horror cult movie. Um, so horror comedies kind of have a ceiling to a degree, depending on how far out they're aiming with their comedy. But hey, I'll take 40 million for an indie movie. Um, so and it was a fun one. It was kind of like a art housey Final Destination. A lot of creative kills, um, less mousetrappy kills for the most part than the Final Destination series, but it was just an absolutely absurd movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one, but it looked pretty absurd. So not surprising. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, based on long legs, definitely could have expected it to do a little better. All right, well that takes us to number 9, which was Paddington in Peru, made $46 million, and I picked it at number 11. So like I said, difference between 9 and 10 is $6 million. It's gonna get um, it's gonna stay that same like differential for a while.
Yep.
Um, I mean, the Paddington 2, I think did this was a drop off for the Paddington series, maybe by another like what $30 million.
I think so.
So not a huge drop off. I think we're kind of seeing that all the sequels seem to not be performing as well as their original. I think is kind of the theme here.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good point. Um, that was the case with Den of Thieves, The Accountant. Um, yeah, the only one so far. But
and
there's
now
more.
Paddington.
There's more coming, and now Paddington, and there's more coming.
Yeah, so just kind of shows, I guess, it was just kind of a muted box office overall, or
Yeah.
even like the property, the would seem like the more tried and true, or I guess with it being a sequel, just aren't performing as well as the movie that came before it.
Hmm.
Granted, with the not the amateur, with the accountant and the Den of Thieves, there was a decent delay
Yeah.
um, between the
Well,
sequels.
Paddington too. There was a decent delay too, right?
That's true.
That
Yeah,
was like a
Paddington
pre.
2.
That was a pre-pandemic movie. Yeah, 2017. So
Yeah,
it's
so
been a while since
that
that one.
that could have also hurt, but I don't know.
I think it might have even been 2018 in North America. Um, doing a double check on that. Because these ones, they come out, yeah, it was 2018 in North America because we get it last. The Paddington movies. Okay. So next up, we've got at number 8, Mickey 17 with again 46 million.
Yeah, so nothing like different. This one doesn't even have a I'm assuming the difference was
it
somehow under a
was
million.
it was under, yeah, it was like $200,000, something like that. It was crazy how close they
Yeah.
were.
Um,
Um, but yeah, Doug, you picked this with your number 7 pick. Um, obviously, was hoping for more money from this Bong Joon Ho, Robert Pattinson original sci-fi movie, well, based on a book, but original otherwise. Um, but yeah, it stalled.
yeah, I mean, I think the reviews just weren't great for this movie. I actually felt like the way it performed. I'm surprised that it was so close to where I picked it because it felt like a huge bomb. Um, so that was actually kind of surprising me where I was like, oh, I actually only picked it at 7 and it performed 8.
Yeah,
Um, Granted, like we still have movies earning money, so
yeah.
might drop.
It'll drop one more with the accountant too. But that's
Um,
it.
but yeah, I mean, I just think like the red flag with this movie that I was just hoping wasn't going to play out is the trailers started to look a little goofy in tone.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think
and
they
yeah,
ever
just
knew how to market this movie,
and
which
I
hence it being pushed back a year.
and then just like the reviews weren't super strong for this one, so I just think like people were like had this come out with rave reviews, I think we probably would have seen a much better performance. But um, yeah, I just don't think I think between the reviews and the marketing, they were just like didn't do a good job of getting anyone interested in this movie. And I think it's I still haven't seen this movie. From what I've heard, it's just tonally a weird movie that's not really made for the masses.
Yeah, it's definitely not made for the masses. It runs too long. I mean, it's amusing, but I would have expected more from it. But I mean, it gives the other theme of the season. You brought up sequels being doing less than the others than their previous entries. Is that so many of these movies were, especially from January to March, felt like they were movies that like the studios like were never confident in, and they just pushed it to early 2025, like they were supposed to be 2024 releases. Um, that was the case with Wolfman. It was the case with this one. It's the case with a couple others that we still haven't talked about yet that underperformed. And then you have again all these like long delayed sequels to movies from prior to the pandemic, like Paddington in Peru, Den of Thieves, Pantera, The Accountant 2. Um, well, The Accountant 2 was April, but either way, it just seemed like a season where studios really weren't putting out their big guns, and
No, it feels
it
like this is
reflected,
like
it very much reflected in how empty theaters were and how little these movies made.
this feels like a, the studio dumpster of where they just put out the movies they didn't
Yeah, I felt like
care about.
the last real season impacted by the strikes, where it was just like, all right, here's the leftovers before we get to the really like the stuff we started fresh with after the strikes ended, um, which really started taking effect in April and May of 2025. So summer, hopefully, it continues the role that we'll eventually get to in this top 20. It just it's still taking a while to get there.
Yep. That takes us to number 7, One of Them Days, which made $50 million. Um, Neither one of us picked it. I thought
Yeah, screw up on
I
our part.
yeah. I mean, I thought there was something to this movie. where I had debated picking it like my last pick. I did not foresee it being a top 7 pick by any
And
stretch of the
what
imagination.
did you pick for your last pick?
I don't know, something stupid that probably didn't even make anything.
Presents,
Presents, yeah.
the bottom movie that wasn't selected or that wasn't ranked. So yeah,
Yeah,
this would have been a better pick.
I thought the trailer looked really funny, and I was definitely like, I made like an asterisk or something around this movie where I was like, really funny. Not sure if it's gonna make any money or anyone's gonna go out to see it, but maybe it could be something. Did not by any chance think it was gonna be anywhere near as high, or of course I would have picked it. But I was
But
just,
even if you did pick it instead of presents, it only would have been $43 million more dollars.
I know that's the kind of the craziness about this draft is there's not much that separates like the top 6 from the not picked movies. Just kind of crazy, but yeah, I mean, obviously should have kind of went with my gut on this one, but I did not foresee it doing anywhere near as well as it did. I thought maybe it could make like 10 to 20.
Yeah, no, it was a fun R-rated comedy. Definitely, it was like the lone bright spot at the box office for a while. Other than that movie from China, Neza 2 or whatever, that was making a ton of money worldwide, well, mostly in China. But even that one nearly made the top 20 and made more than most of the movies that were selected and not ranked from us in the US. But yeah, just disappointing that that the number 7 movie made only 50 million, that none of us picked it, and yeah, I guess nothing else needs to be said. Like I said, fun R-rated comedy, worth checking out, and it was targeted to a demographic that doesn't get hit as much. So I'm not surprised it like was a little kind of a mini breakout for the months of January and February, which, I mean, I'm looking at the box office. It's what the biggest movie it was the biggest movie of January, second biggest movie of or third big or second biggest movie of January, third biggest movie of January, February combined. So, oh well. I'm just double checking. This movie did come out in January, right?
I thought it did. It came over on a holiday weekend,
Yeah,
didn't it?
yeah, January 17th.
Yeah, so that's
It came
MLK
out
Day.
Martin Luther King
Yeah, yeah,
Jr.
yeah, yeah. That's MLK Day or MLK weekend.
Yeah, so smart decision dropping it that weekend. But we'll see what the future holds for Keke Palmer and SZA as movie stars. Keke Palmer seems to be on a roll, and SZA has, for a musician, seems to already now have a promising film career. So we'll see.
Yep.
All right, number 6. Again, something we did not pick. The King of Kings. It's at 56 million. Maybe it will make a little bit more. I kind of feel like it's not, now that we're 2 weeks after Easter. It had a big drop over Easter weekend. But yeah, this one at 56 million. One of us should have picked it. I mean, we talked about if Kate had done this draft in replace of Corey, we gave her the option of joining it. She was totally going to pick this movie. And when we ended up showing her what our top 20 was, she was like, neither of you picked the King of Kings. So there was an audience for this movie.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously haven't learned our lesson with Angel Studios.
Yeah, no, this is what, their second biggest now?
Yeah, and they just seem to have an audience and keep, putting out hits. I saw the trailer for this and I was just like, I don't think this looks good.
Yes.
So that was really the driving force.
The animation looked shoddy. But I mean, it ultimately had a solid voice cast based on Charles Dickens saying it's about Jesus. It was opening around Easter.
Took advantage of the holiday week, the
Yeah,
Easter weekend.
we should have kind of known that this was going to end up making um, some money, and especially with the amount of like slim pickings, it one of us probably should have drafted it. But
Yeah, yeah, like I said, I just didn't think it looked good, but obviously that doesn't always matter.
yeah,
As we'll
exactly.
get into our like top movie.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah, this will continue making money because I mean, last weekend it made 4 million. I mean, it dropped 76 million, 76% last weekend, so it's probably going to drop hard again this weekend. But maybe I'll make another like $2 million, which wouldn't increase its total or anything. But all right, you want to get into number five, where we have a big gap in finally, where there's a difference in the box office.
yeah, so number 5 was Snow White, which made $86 million. I picked it with the third pick in the draft. I mean, I didn't want this movie. I said throughout the draft I didn't want this movie. Um, I think it had a lot of hate online. I had a bad feeling that this movie wasn't going to perform well.
So you picked it number
I
three.
I felt like I had to pick it number 3 because it was the most sure thing at number 3 to make what I thought was $100 million.
I know.
Obviously, didn't
I
get
I
there.
thought it was going to be like it was 100 million was what it was going to make.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I said. Is it's going to make 100 million. Had it made 100 million, it would have been number 4. Um,
Yeah, wouldn't have made much more, or wouldn't have ranked much higher.
yeah, it would have. And I think there's a surprise in here, but yeah, I didn't want this. I didn't want the second and third pick because of the two movies I had to pick, or I felt like I had to pick in that spot. I didn't feel very confident about, and looks like I was right with Snow White. So this movie just didn't have a lot of. Um, I didn't have a good feeling about this movie just based on the disinterest slash hate all surrounding this movie. So I think 86 million is even worse than I had imagined it performing. So I think that's the surprising part here.
Yeah, for Disney's first ever animated film to have one of their worst ever live action adaptations at the box office, pretty crazy. But yeah, I think they're going to step back from doing these types of movies. I mean, obviously they have Lilo and Stitch and in the can, and Moana basically in the can, but I think their adaptations are going to be more for recent films versus going back to the classics and doing. They've been saying if they're doing live action adaptations moving forward, they're going to have some sort of a unique reason for doing them, some sort of a twist, not just a straight up remake. But yeah, there was, like you said, there was just so much hate around this movie online that it was going to be tough to ever be able to combat that. So, all right, we'll go to number four, and we'll go with Disney's arch enemy, DreamWorks. DreamWorks Animation had Dogman. Um, it made 98 million. As Doug was saying, our next movie wasn't making 100 million anyway. I picked this at number four. So I would think I was hoping for 100 million. So it made just about that. I was definitely hoping
Yeah.
for 100 million based on its opening weekend, and didn't end up crossing that barrier, but it got close enough.
Yeah, I was hoping this. I remember the draft saying, "Dang it!" Was hoping this one would have slipped under
You,
your radar, and I
you
could have
said
picked
that
it
a
up.
lot. If people go back to that episode, there's a lot of
Yeah,
I just wanted that movie.
yeah. I feel like a lot of this, it just didn't. The draft didn't play out the way I wanted it to. But there's the next
Yeah.
movie we're going to talk about. Um, I have to 100% give you props on. So let's talk about that one.
All right, let's
because
get into the movies that actually made money that crossed the
I
$100
think
million.
I don't think so. This was number three, Sinners. It's $147 million so far and counting. So we're over that $100 million threshold.
Yeah,
Murph, you picked it at number five.
I think we're
Um,
now at 170 or 180 million after this weekend. So it's just going to keep on going up. It's definitely going to be the number 2 movie eventually.
yeah, I think yes, you picked it at five, so I wouldn't have had a chance at it anyway. With after Snow White and the movie we'll talk
No.
about number two, but I don't think I would have taken it at 6 or 7 because I had this low on my list.
Okay. All right. Honesty.
Yeah, so this is one I was completely wrong about. I didn't think I thought Sinners was a little too artsy. I didn't think it was going to connect with mainstream audiences. You were obviously a lot higher than me on this movie, and I mean, you obviously, I know you mentioned you like the Ryan Coogler of it all, just being that he's had some hits. You know, to me, I thought, well, yeah, he had hits, but a lot of it was he had IP, like the Black Panther movies being an example. He had IP. Creed, he had IP. So I just didn't believe in a Ryan Coogler original making this kind of money. But I saw the movie. I really enjoyed it. As you know, I saw it twice already,
Yep.
which is pretty big for me. Um, and I want to see this movie do well because I think it deserves to do well. But yeah, why don't you talk a little bit about what you saw in this movie? Because I think I have to give you complete props for seeing something in this.
Yeah. I mean, I think you and we had we had the reverse opinions on, or flip flopped opinions on this and Mickey 17. I didn't see any potential in Mickey 17 and thought that was the art housey big budget original from Warner Brothers that didn't have as much potential. Um, I mean, I didn't think it was going to make Mickey 17 kind of ended up where I was expecting. I didn't expect Sinners to make the money that it's making. I'm not going to pretend that. I mean, I did pick Dogman before. I mean, they were back-to-back picks. But had I had the 2-3 pick, um, I I'm not sure if I would have picked Sinners. I don't have that list anymore. Um, I don't. It's a whole different ball game at that point. The movie I had at number 1, I ultimately picked at number 1. But I think I probably would have picked at least one of the movies above Snow White. But I think I probably would have missed out on Sinners. But I would have got it later. I would have got it on the next.
You would have, yeah, that's what I was saying.
Around.
I think you would have still gotten it because I probably would have
Yeah.
had Mickey 17, I believe, higher.
But yeah, no, I just believed in Brian Coogler, that he's a director that brings in audiences. Michael B. Jordan brings in audiences. Yes, they have IP, but I mean, I think he's a known name among cinephiles at this point. It had the IMAX film aspect, which always is something, or being filmed in IMAX by IMAX film cameras and being projected in IMAX 70 millimeter theaters and film always is big among cinephiles. And I think Black audiences are ultimately neglected. And I mean, dude, what's ultimately going to be number 2, what is currently number 2, and what was number 7, likely will end up being number 8, are all movies that are targeted first and foremost to Black audiences. So I think when movies are made with them in mind, but it can branch out to all audiences, you get something like Sinners. And it had the supernatural horror elements to it, so that brings in a different crowd. It just had, I don't know, I thought it had a bunch going for it where it felt like a $100 million movie. I did not think it was going to be a $200+ million movie. I don't know where it's going to end up finishing. I'm not even going to guess based on the types of drops it's having, but it's definitely going to top our number 2 movie. I would say it's probably going to end somewhere closer to between $250 to $300 million.
Yeah,
because it has a couple more weeks before there's like real competition.
Which to me is the biggest surprise of the draft, in my opinion, is just how well Sinners is performing. To be the number 2 movie.
Yeah,
is pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how far it could go. But thanks for the props. And thanks to Ryan Coogler. You finally converted Doug into being a fan. He's officially on board.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was fine, but I definitely want to see more originals from him just based on the original hitting a lot more than some of the other stuff where he's using IP.
Go back to Fruitvale Station. It's available for you to watch. You've never seen it. And then, like I said to you in text recently, give Creed 1 another shot again, because, I mean, that's the only one that's really his movie. And maybe your opinion will have changed. But, I mean, you like Black Panther. Like, we've talked about it.
I mean, I think Black Panther's fine. I think it's a better movie if he didn't have to get stuck probably by the studio
in the Marvel machine,
having that the over the top 2 Black Panther, like the Black Panther suits like Killmonger like fighting each other in this CGI space with these like PS2 looking
the CG
graphics. Yeah, I mean, that's not on Coogler. That's Marvel. I'm sure wanted that big fight.
Yeah,
and Marvel didn't prioritize the movie to give that, to make sure that the CG looked good.
No, they were totally focused on Infinity War opening like 2 months later, 3 months later.
So I mean, that's Coogler's fault. And then Black Panther 2 didn't hit for me, but I mean, Coogler was put in a weird spot with that one just because
there's so many extenuating circumstances with Wakanda Forever.
So I can't blame that on him, and I think all things considered, it turned out pretty well.
Yeah.
And then, the Creed movie, it just didn't hit for me, but I'll have to go back and watch it. The last one I saw, I think, was the one with Ivan Drago's son.
Oh, you didn't even see Creed 3?
I don't think so.
The one with Jonathan Majors?
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
Yeah, Creed 2 is easily the worst of the trilogy. And that had zero, involvement from him. At least with Creed 3, he was part of developing the story, and Creed 3 was a big upgrade from Creed 2. And Creed 1 is just far and away the best one of the trilogy. But
that's good.
All right. But that's your Ryan Coogler section of this box office recap.
He was a big part of the box office, so it makes
sense. He was one half of reviving it in April. Really getting things moving again, the momentum. So thank you, sir. And now move on to what's currently number 2 and what will be number 3 by next weekend. It is Captain America: Brave New World with $200 million and counting. It may make another $1 million, go up to 201 because its theater count increased this past weekend when Thunderbolts open to kick off the summer. But Doug, you picked this at number 2. Totally the pick. It's the pick to make at number 2. If I had number 2 and the movie that I picked was at number 1 was gone, this is what I would have taken at number 2. I don't think it's something either of us would have wanted to take, because I think we knew there was a cap to the movie. No pun intended. But I mean, you're rebooting Captain America. The movie there was just so much that didn't seem right about it. Like the fact that it was made back in the pre-strike era and that they were doing so many reshoots. This was similar to what I alluded to with movies like Mickey 17 and Wolfman getting pushed to this year. Snow White and Captain America were two other movies like that. It being like a semi-sequel to The Incredible Hulk, which was the MCU's second movie back in 2008, along with a sequel to a streaming show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It didn't make sense. It seemed like the type of movie Marvel wouldn't make after the strikes, when they started pivoting and focusing more on quality over quantity. So this just felt like a leftover type of movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, yes, at the end of Endgame, Cap gives the shield to Sam, but I mean, it's really like, I didn't like the fact that, outside of the Plague production of this movie, it is basically a sequel to a TV show.
Yeah.
So I think that's not a good place to be, for having a movie that you're trying to get people out to see. I think this movie ultimately performed probably right around where we were both expecting it to, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, did Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania money? I mean,
yeah, which is kind of where I had it in my head. I actually haven't seen this movie still. If that could tell you anything,
because it's still not on Disney Plus.
I'm gonna wait and see it on Disney Plus. I went and saw Thunderbolts this past weekend. I usually try to see all the Marvel movies in theaters, but this one I didn't even care about. So I think that's why it didn't perform well, is because a lot of fans just felt like this is skippable, or at least
it was skippable.
Yeah,
it like, yes, there's references made to it in Thunderbolts, and there's some stuff into it that play a part into Thunderbolts, but it's not, and will likely play a part in the future, based on Thunderbolts. But it's just a shoddily put together movie. You can see like what was reshot, because it just doesn't fit in with the rest of the movie. It's just not that fun. It's between this and Quantumania as their worst movie. That's not a great look when two of your two worst movies have come out in the past 2 years. So hopefully the brand starts to be on an upswing with Thunderbolts. We will see. Fantastic Four comes out soon, so they have a chance really with Thunderbolts ending Phase 5 and then Fantastic Four kicking off Phase 6, to really bring things home the right way with the end of the multiverse saga. Now with that, and then 2 Avengers movies and Spider-Man, and who knows what else they add for Phase 6. But hopefully they can end Phase 6 just going in the right direction, and put out a bunch of winners, both in more importantly, honestly, with quality at this point, because I think the Marvel movies kind of have a ceiling to them at this point. Whether if they're an original type of movie or a movie built around nostalgia, it seems like there's like the diehards who are going to see everything at this point for the most part, and then the ones that will go see the special events. So we'll see where Fantastic Four lies as far as being a special event or a diehard movie. That's our next test case. But Captain America Brave New World was definitely a diehard movie.
Yeah, my prediction is it's going to do a lot better than Captain America Brave New World. Just if we want to make predictions here, I just think it's got, the beginning of a phase, introduction of new characters, probably setting up the first movie to start setting up the real groundwork for what will ultimately be the next Avengers series with for Avengers Doomsday, which they're hoping to recreate the Infinity War Endgame. I mean, they brought back the Russo brothers. They brought back one half of Marcus and McFeely. Clearly, they're trying to replicate.
They brought back Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, they brought back Robert Downey Jr. They're bringing back everybody else, it seems like.
Yeah.
So they're definitely trying to...
like X-Men back in 2000.
So they're definitely trying to catch that lightning in the bottle event, and I guess it will remains to be seen on whether or not they can, lightning strikes twice.
Yeah, I mean they have a chance to just go nostalgia heavy and just make big bucks just based on that alone for the rest of the multiverse saga. And then it's what do you do from there? Because it's really new beginnings at that point.
Yeah. So it'll be
So
interesting to see. But anyway, I
yeah,
just wanted to throw out a prediction just so
no, yeah, I definitely
I'm on
think
the
it's
record.
we've talked about it. I think I'd say it has like a $300 million. I think I said around the ceiling, around that $300 or $400 million ceiling. Um, so yeah, we'll see soon enough.
For sure. And that takes us to our top movie by a long shot, and that was a Minecraft movie. It made $385 million and counting. Murph, you picked it with the number one pick.
Yep. It's got I think I think it topped 400 million this weekend or very close to it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want you to get this movie because I was worried about it. Obviously, you got it. I don't think either one of us are surprised that it's performed as well as it did because I think we both probably saw that it had that type of potential. Whether or not, I don't think either one of us could say we knew absolutely for certain that it would perform this well because it's obviously, you just don't know with this type of movie, but it felt like it had the most potential out of every movie. So I think it's smart that you took it number one. I was hoping you wouldn't. But yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't foresee the chicken jockey
The
of it all.
insanity
And like,
that ensued at movie theaters.
yeah, just like the TikTok craze that it created. I don't think I could say I saw any of that coming.
Yeah, those poor movie theater attendants that had to deal with these Minecraft crowds. God bless them for what they handled throughout August or throughout April and are still dealing with.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got like a crowd that doesn't typically come out in the droves it comes out for unless there's some sort of TikTok thing. I mean, Minions is the last one I can remember where they were all dressing up in suits and going to the Minions 4 for Minions. I don't know what Minions it was, but the Minions movie.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. I guess Barbie to some extent, but different crowd had people dressing up in like Barbie attire. So I mean, there's definitely like these
viral hits,
these viral
where
like
trends
the movie becomes
happen.
It becomes an event where people are dressing up. They're doing things like the chicken jockey, throwing popcorn and shit and yelling, and like it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, that part's bullshit. I love the fact I love like making these things an event, but like this was just over the top, and like I wish this wasn't the type of movie that made this much money based on the audiences. Because if this is the future of movies making money, then it's a sad state of affairs.
But this isn't something that I remember existing before like this.
What?
So it's very interesting.
People throwing popcorn, or
just these like I don't remember the movies being as much of an event. Like sure, some people would dress up for like the Marvel movies and like they'd have but this is a different thing that I think has only kind of popped up in the last decade or so, which is really interesting to me. And obviously,
it seems to be like a Gen Z, Gen Alpha type of thing.
And we saw like obviously movie theaters want to make money, and so I mean AMC was embracing the chicken jockey stuff, right? They were like, "Hey, we can do
I think it was Cinemark that was doing a chicken jockey screen."
Okay, yeah, I mean they're embracing it because at the end of the day they want to make money, and this movie was one of the bright spots in a pretty awful winter for them. It's just like there wasn't much here, and Minecraft seemingly along with Sinners brought people back into the theaters.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean people were talking like the buzz online was that the heads of Warner Brothers were going to get it the axe, Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi from David Zaslav after Mickey 17, Joker, Folly You Do, a lot of the bad buzz for a lot of the expensive upcoming originals that they had coming. But Minecraft movie and Sinners back to back completely saved their jobs. So they're good to go at least until the Leo PTA movie. We'll see how that performs in September because that was their next big swing. I mean, if Superman doesn't work out, I don't think it would be blamed on them. I think that'll be blamed on Peter Safran and James Gunn. So, I mean, they're clearly delighted by these performances. I mean, and they single-handedly saved the season, or double-handedly saved the season with the Minecraft movie and Sinners. And thankfully, one of them, absolutely fantastic cinema. The other one, I'm cool with to make money, like, and get young people excited to go to the movies. I just wish it didn't involve making the theaters absolutely disgusting. And just, I don't know. It just does not sound like a fun experience to me. But again, I'm not the target audience for Minecraft. I saw potential in this, and it was the choice of whether do I go with the guaranteed hit in Captain America, where I saw a clear ceiling, or do I go with the one that I think has a lot more upside, but it also isn't a guarantee, and it can do half of what Captain America makes. Ultimately chose to take the swing, and it worked out.
Yeah, wish you didn't, but I don't know. It would have been interesting to see how it played out. I don't think I necessarily would have won for sure if I had gotten the Minecraft movie because of your pick with Sinners.
Well, we can talk about that right now. Let's talk about where we ended up. So, Doug, you did come in second in our first head-to-head matchup. You got 508 million. It may go up to 509. We'll see. With your picks of Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, Wolfman, Flight Risk, Presence, Love Hurts, Captain America, Brave New World, Paddington and Peru, Mickey 17, Novocaine, and Snow White. And at the moment, I have 841 million from Dogman, Companion, Hard Eyes, The Monkey, A Working Man, A Minecraft Movie, The Amateur, Drop, Sinners, and The Accountant 2. To answer your question, no. You could have had a Minecraft movie if we swapped a Minecraft movie and Captain America. I still would have won.
Sinners,
because
made too much. Yeah, would have made too much, and I just wouldn't have picked it before you did. So I think we can confidently say that you would have won regardless.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately we could do 10 versus 9. I could just remove a Minecraft movie from my box office total and I could win. It was just I think this is a preview of the opposite of what's going to happen in the summer, where you're going to trounce me with just picking way better picks than I did. And me going, I don't know, I definitely think it's going to be very different with the summer head-to-head matchup. But yeah, I clearly had a very strong winter spring. So per usual, we do the $50 AMC gift card. So to the winner. So Doug will be sending one of those over to me, which thank you in advance for doing that, Doug.
It's actually in your inbox if you want to just pull it up real quick and see what card I chose.
Let's see what glorious gift card did you send me this time after sending me Snow White last time? Oh, thank you. A Minecraft movie, my favorite fucking film.
Yeah, I know you love the Minecraft movie, and I thought it was fitting just because it was your number one movie of the draft.
No, it was fitting. Um,
So, yeah, well done. You had a great draft, and I just yeah, I mean, like I said, even without a Minecraft movie, um, you still crushed it, and you still would have won. So, well done to you, sir. I think
Thank you.
you did a good job, and I think your instincts were a lot more on point than mine in this one. So, well done.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and I do believe your instincts were more right than mine for the summer. We obviously shall see. And then in the fall, we're going to need to probably figure out some stipulations because we got Mr. Jimmy Cameron back with Avatar, Fire and Ash.
We don't want to just like not stipulate that movie like we did with the Way of Water.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what we're going to do. We did have stipulations for The Way of Water.
I don't think we
Um,
did.
yeah, it was the person who didn't get Way of Water or Wakanda Forever. Their box office was doubled.
Okay.
So I ended up winning that one. But because I didn't get Way of Water or Wakanda Forever, and you went super art house after taking Way of Water.
Yeah, I botched that one because I should have won that
Yes,
if
you
I didn't go
absolutely
art
should have
house.
won. You absolutely should
Even with
beat
the
me.
doubling the box office, yeah. Oh
Um,
man.
but yeah, and I think we're going to have to do the coin toss, and the winner of the coin toss can choose whether they want to be the first or second pick. That we'll put that on record now on here that that's what we'll do as we do our final third and draft of the year, and then decide after that one what we want to do for moving forward.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for today. This has been Doug and Murph at Live Breathe Film, signing off.